Hi, Alexandra. Let's take a look at your new set of essays. I read your question about putting the solutions at the end. I want to read the whole thing, and then I'll tell you if you did it appropriately or not, okay? Let's see what you did. Currently, currently the issue concerning pollution without the has grown in importance, especially in well-inhabited. The word you want is inhabited. You have an extra syllable here. Urban areas. There is a myriad of factors which worsen our environmental condition. In my opinion, traffic along with industrialization are the factors that play pivotal no are the factors that play pivotal roles in that process and thus have the most devastating effect on air quality. In this essay, I shall try to offer an appropriate why, and then I will suggest the best possible solution to this problem. Okay, it's fine. You saw me hesitate here. I shall try to offer an appropriate why. I thought that was a little awkward, but the why. How about in this essay, I shall try to offer possible causes that would have made sense too. Okay, so let's keep going. Firstly, it is common knowledge that the amount of traffic has dramatically increased in the last few decades. Furthermore, large cities have been developing extremely fast, which correlates with the necessity to commute on a daily basis. Consistent with this line of thinking is the fact that most of the current vehicles are powered by fossil fuels such as petrol or diesel, which are extremely toxic. For example, recent research conducted by the US government has demonstrated the alarming figures in terms of petrol-related air toxicity, along with its harmful environmental consequences such as acid rains. Thus, one of the best solutions would be to construct engines that would be powered by batteries. Huh? How about no? Would be powered by solar energy batteries, maybe, rather than liquid fuels. Okay, so that's how you did this. Now, doing it like this is okay, and it's fine when you have a solution for each of your problems, like when they line up like this, okay, where you have a problem and then you have its a coordinating solution, for lack of a better word. You can do it like this. However, for me, this paragraph has a different problem. You were super detailed regarding the problems, and then for the solution, you have one itty bitty sentence. Okay, and that's not enough. They've asked you to talk about problems, they've asked you to talk about solutions. So you really need to give equal space to both of them. Okay, imagine this. Imagine you had not done it like this, and imagine that you had a paragraph just with the problems. Okay, so this would be like a paragraph, and then here, right, like this, I can see just looking at this quickly is the problems. You would have a huge paragraph about problems, and then this tiny little, like 2 or 3 sentence long paragraph about solutions. So that's going to really cost you in terms of task achievement, because if you look at the band descriptors, it says that you, I can't remember how it phrases it, but covers all parts of the task equally. That's what it says, and that's under band 7. So when you do it like this, you have this enormous paragraph for the problems, but this itty bitty paragraph for the solutions, that's not covering all parts of the topic equally. And that's the risk you run into when you do it like this. Can it be done? Yeah, of course it can be done. But you have to do a lot more in terms of your solutions. Okay? You said one of the best solutions would be to construct these solar energy powered batteries. All right, great. Why? What would that do? This would help because it would reduce the fossil fuels that we previously mentioned are emitted and instead would harness the power of the sun to provide energy. This type of energy is known to not damage the environment. Okay, so that's the detail you need to go into. All right, so I hope that answers your question. Let's continue. Secondly, the increasing rate of pollution is undeniably linked to the increasing number of factories which often use coal and electricity, careful, to heat their central stoves. I don't know that factories have stoves per se. I think they might call them something else, so make sure you have the appropriate vocabulary word. Although it is undeniable that, sorry, industrialization represents one of the most crucial aspects for the note double E here, well-being of contemporary society, maybe get rid of this the, it is beyond doubt to state, I don't know what's going on with your language here. Hold on. Let's try it again. Although it is undeniable that industrialization represents one of the most crucial aspects for the well-being of contemporary society, without a doubt, it has detrimental effects on its surroundings due to its excessive carbon dioxide emissions is spelled wrong here. Careful with your spelling. For instance, according to experts, the concentration of carbon dioxide has now reached its critical levels and results in global warming, coupled with a condition called, careful with your spelling, greenhouse effect. Therefore, one of the best ways, spelling, to minimize their toxic emissions, spelling, would be to put draconian measures, not measurements, on the owners, such as forcing them to use more environmentally spelling friendly energy sources. All right, why? Why would this help? How would this contribute? Okay, what are these draconian measures? Give us an example. Okay, so go a step further and say, for example, every time a factory owner uses fossil fuels, they must pay, I don't know, like 100 million pounds or dollars or whatever to funding research into renewable resources. All right, something. I don't know. But just go a step further and explain it. This is exactly what I was talking about before. All right, so your solutions paragraph or your solutions information needs to create a paragraph. So it needs to have, again, a main idea and support to really develop it. In conclusion, traffic, along with industrialization, are the key elements spelling when it comes to pollution in urban areas. It is predicted that the number of vehicles and factories with replenished energy, no, that's not the right word. Renewable is the word you want. Will have doubled between 2030 and 2050. All right, now I know that it is suggested you write a prediction here, and yes, that's true. Your prediction felt a little too specific. It almost felt like it belonged in a task 1 rather than as a conclusion in your task 2. Plus, it felt like you were introducing absolutely brand new information, and you don't want to do that in your introduction. I'm sorry, you don't want to do it in your conclusion. So maybe you could have said something like, it is predicted that the issue of pollution will continue to grow in importance. That simple. Okay? All right. So good stuff happening here, but there are some issues that I want you to be, a little careful with. So let's take a look at this task 1 about car sales. So the diagram illustrates the outcomes concerning the numbers of cars that were sold by 3 various manufacturers in the specific states in Europe. There's a lot of language here that I feel really doesn't belong. You could have clarified it, simplified it, making it read a little cleaner, okay? So the diagram illustrates the number of cars that were sold by 3 manufacturers in 9 European countries. It is 9, isn't it? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, okay. That's all. Cleaner, right? Okay, let's continue. Overall, what stands out from the graph is the fact that the sales in Hungary significantly outperform the sales of other countries' spelling, whereas Belgium marked the lowest sales. All the companies sold approximately the same amount of vehicles in the above mentioned European countries, not cities. I don't agree with that. I don't think all the companies sold the same amount. I think that Audi sold absolutely by far the least of anybody. So, yeah, I don't agree with that at all. You could potentially argue that Ford sold a similar amount as BMW, but if you look carefully, it looks like BMW outperformed all of them, I think. All right, you'll see why. We'll talk about it. Firstly, the sales in Hungary noticeably outnumbered all other European countries, with just under 400,000 cars, get rid of, being sold. The amounts were more or less equal for each brand. France was the second best-selling country with similar sales stratification. That's a nice way of saying it. Conversely, sales in Belgium spelling were just under 100,000. Interestingly, while Audi and BMW were only 1/10 of the sales, Ford represents the, careful with your spelling, highest proportion with around 90,000. And this is for Belgium, you're saying? Okay, interesting. Let me see what you said about France. Okay, fine. Secondly, what's going on here? Uh-oh, you started with a lastly. What went on there? Secondly, UK, Germany, Ireland, Holland, and Poland spelling exceeded the total number of 200,000 cars sold. While Germany was the best-selling country with just over 260 sold cars, Ireland and Holland had comparable outcomes, accounting for around 250. Poland and UK had okay, outcomes. It's a lot of outcomes, Alexandra. So careful with this. Interestingly, spelling. Ford marked the lowest sales in Germany at around 10,000. You got a lastly, which makes me think you ran out of time or something like that. Careful. I would have rather you didn't write it at all. I would have rather you just deleted it, okay? And then I would have assumed that, this ended here. And I would have marked it as that. Now it feels like it was incomplete, and so that's also going to affect your test, your coherence and cohesion score. Okay, so I didn't love the organization. I think there are more effective ways to do this. Okay, it was all right, but it was a little confusing. And I also felt like you left out probably some important information. So what I want to do now is I want to give you some suggestions on how I think this can be done. So first of all, you start with your introduction, you follow up with your overview, and then you want to have 2 paragraphs. In the first paragraph, I would deal with these total numbers because they're also very important. That's the reason why it's a stacked bar chart, because they want you to address these totals. And if you really think about it, you've got, how many countries did we say? 9. You've got 36 pieces of information here. It is far too many for you to be able to address all of them. So you have to be very strategic with the ones you use. So here's how I would do this. I would say that the country with the highest sales of cars, was Hungary with just under 400,000. It was followed by nearly 100,000 less in France. I would also say the fewest cars sold of the 9 countries was in Belgium at around 90,000. And second least was Italy with approximately 120,000 cars. The rest all sold between 200 and 270,000 cars. And then you're done with that paragraph. So then I would go to the individual car companies. I would start with BMW, partially because I think it's the highest and it's also the easiest. So I would say that BMW sold approximately 100,000 cars in each of the countries, except for Belgium, where it sold roughly 10,000. Now, look at that. I said approximately, because if you look, it's a little over, a little under, a little over, a little under, a little under, a little under, a little over, a little under. So it's fine to say it like that. Okay. And with one sentence, you've pretty much knocked out BMW. Okay. Then you can go to Germany. You can go to Ford, where you can say that Ford sold the most cars in Hungary and Holland at whatever that number is. It sold the least in Germany and Italy. Okay. And then you can do something similar for Audi. You can say it sold the most in Hungary and Germany. It sold the least in Belgium, but also a small amount in UK and Italy. And you're done. That's how I would organize this. Okay. This way you're pinpointing the important information and you're not bogging down the examiner with lots of details that really don't tell us anything particularly important. Okay. So that's my advice on this. That's how I would do this. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope you find that helpful. Okay, good luck.